Sir, you can start.
Okay. So, good evening, everyone. We are going to start now. As we discussed last time, I'm going to show a short video of Krishnaji. It's a 15 minutes video on the theme, as I had mentioned. And after that, we'll have dialogue. My apologies, I'll be leaving little early because I have some work to do. So I'll request Harshad Bhai to kindly take over and moderate the dialogue session. So I'll try and share the screen now with the video. Can everybody see this?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay.
Is it all comfortable? Yes. Because if you're not comfortable, you won't be able to attain. Right? We're going to talk about this quality of attention.
And now the video is not there, audio is there.
Most of us know what concentration is. Every schoolboy is taught to attain, to concentrate on a book or something or other, so that he applies his mind to a particular thing, resisting all other invasion, all movement of thought, resisting all movement of thought, and concentrate. You know this, don't you? Huh? This is obvious. And the more that you can totally concentrate without any movement, without any interference of other activities of thought, one thinks one has achieved something. We are saying attention is nothing whatsoever to do with concentration. Right? Examine it, sir. Critically examine what is being said. Don't accept. Don't swallow hook, line, and the rest of it. Find out if what the speaker is saying is correct or not. Correct being accurate, precise, not vague, romantic, nonsensical. Concentration emphasizes, gives importance to a particular activity of thought. Right? Whereas attention is not the product of thought. Just play with it. Don't accept it, just look at it. Because most of us know what is inattention. when you are listening to the speaker, you listen for a minute or two, or perhaps less than that, and your thoughts wander away to something else. And you try to pull it back and listen. Aren't you doing that? Huh? Good Lord. So your mind is chatting. And occasionally, the chatter stops and you attend. Listen. But most of the time is constant activity. And in that constancy, there's a particular demand made by circumstances or apply, concentrate on a particular activity and resist all other activities of thought. You're following on this, right? If you understand this movement, that thought is bringing about a quality of attention, a quality of concentration, and that very thought is moving away in other directions. A compulsion to hold the thought in a particular direction. Right? This is what's generally called concentration. Attention to attain. In that attention, if you really attend, there is no center from which you are attending. Right? It all looks so possible. So, because it's important to understand this. Because attention and inattention, they are the two things we have to face. Yeah? Are you following? We are communicating, am I communicating something or not at all? Talking. See, have you ever given attention to your mind, with your heart, with your nerves, with your whole being to something in which there is no otherness, in which there is no sense of deviation or distraction? So there are three things involved: concentration, distraction, and attention. Right? Most of us, when we are concentrating, are afraid of distraction. Right? We should talk to each other quietly like this. Now, is there a distraction at home? Perhaps thought itself is a distraction. I'm going to show it to you immediately. when you say there is a distraction, that implies thought has made up its mind to pay, concentrate on a particular object. And when there is any other kind of movement away from that, that movement is called a distraction. Right? Now, is that a distraction? We are saying there is no distraction. Right? Because it is thought, please listen, it is thought that has said, I must concentrate on that. But that very thought is moving away in other direction. And that's called distraction. But is it a distraction? Because the thought has pinpointed in a certain direction, and that very thought is moving away from that. And that's generally called a distraction. Right? Why do you call it a distraction? It is still movement of thought. Right? So, any movement of thought is another distraction. I wonder if you get this. No, you don't. So what we are trying to point out is that there are two qualities of the mind. In which there is no attention, which is inattention, and attention. Right? And to be aware of inattention is to be attentive, in which there is no distraction. You get it? I wonder if you understand this. Because we're always struggling between the two, inattention and attention. And that takes all our energy. In meditation, for example, which is not the moment to talk about now. This is the battle that's going on. To be totally attentive, and a second later, completely not attentive. Right? Now, we are saying the inattention is not a distraction, but to be aware of that lack of attention, to be aware that you're not attending, that's good enough. Yeah? I want to understand this. So that your mind is never in conflict. Because conflict is a wastage of energy. So we're coming back. Now we've explained what attention is. Not explained, the fact of attention. That when there is attention, there is no center from which you are attending, as there is in concentration, which then has what you call distractions. Whereas there is attention and there is inattention. When one is aware of aware of not being attending, that very awareness is attention, in which there is no distraction whatsoever. Got it, sir? Even verbally have got it. Intellectually, which is nothing at all, but at least it's a whisper. Now, will you so attend without concentration, without effort to what is being said? That there is no distraction. You may attend, listen for a minute, and wandering off. And be aware that you're wandering off. That very awareness of wandering off is attention, right? Got it, sir?
So I think we can share our understanding about what Krishti has talked about. And I'll request Harshad Bhai to take over and moderate the dialogue.
Okay, are you able to hear?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Thank you, Dubeji. This title of this video, like awareness of inattention, is attention. It reminds me of Descartes' statement, I think, therefore I am. And Descartes starts with I and ends up with I. Here, Krishnaji, in this title, starts with awareness or attention and ends up with attention. So what Krishnaji is saying, that as long as we are aware, choicelessly aware, thought or thinking is not a distraction. Thoughts come and go. They don't create any problem. It's like a river which is flowing. Thoughts are moving. There is awareness. But when there is awareness is not there, and these thoughts can create problems like fear, anger, jealousy, loneliness, and most of human beings are living in that state of thinking in which there is no awareness, and that is why there are so many problems which we see in society, a lot of anger, violence, corruption. All this happens because there is no awareness or no attention. And in this awareness or attention, there is it is not part of thinking. It is, as Krishnaji says, attention is not the product of thought. It is freedom to observe. And when there is this attention or awareness, choiceless awareness to observe whatever is happening, then thinking can go on. It will not create any distraction. We can listen to people, we can listen to music, we can listen to Krishnaji talking without any resistance, without any suppression. But generally, people are familiar with concentration. That means trying to concentrate on something, whether it is an image of a god, or concentrate on what Krishnaji is saying. In such a concentration, there is a self, there is a desire is involved. And whenever there is a concentration, it is kind of a suppression. And so it doesn't work well. And some other thing will come when we are listening to Krishnaji, and then we will think that it is a kind of a distraction. And then again, we try to bring our mind to what Krishnaji is saying, or some image of some God. In that, there is a conflict between what is and what should be. And this what should be is decided by the self, that you want to listen carefully, or you want to concentrate on some image. So in that, there's a conflict, there is a waste of energy, and we get tired in this process of trying to bring back our mind when it is moving away. That is a concentration. And in that, the self is very much alive, and that is the way probably most human beings live. But attention is something different. It is coming out from the field of thinking and feeling and looking as something different. And once, when such a thing really happens, such a attention happens in the life of a human being, then that person will feel that there is some a new thing has happened in his way of looking, whether the person is looking at a tree or a human being or even Krishnaji walking. Because generally what happens that our looking is very much conditioned. And so when we look at Krishnamurti, we don't look at what other people are there with Krishnamurti. Our mind is focused on Krishnamurti because we think that he is a great man, and so there is a feeling of Krishnamurti and not Krishnamurti. That division exists within us. But in attention, there is no such division. One can look at Krishnamurti in the same way one can look at other people who are with Krishnamurti, like Mr. Narayan or Achyutji or Pamaji or other people. So such kind of attention is really a kind of a blessing. When it comes in our life, this attention, which is not the product of thinking, it is a kind of a blessing. And then thinking doesn't create any problem, and everything flows very, very beautifully. And the thinking is not a distraction. But without attention, with concentration, thinking becomes a distraction because it prevents you from looking at what you want to look. So I would say that Krishnaji has found out what he is talking about by the direct experimenting with his own looking inward. And any person who is able to do that, able to look very, very clearly at how these thoughts and feelings are arising from the state of freedom, from the state of attention, then we will say that what Krishnaji is saying is true. It is very, very obvious. So that is what I feel, that what is lacking in our life is that quality of attention which is different than concentration. And in that attention, everything is very, very new, very fresh. It is not the product of self or thinking. So I have said enough thing. Now people would like to comment on that or any question. Thank you. Dinesh Waghmare.
Are you
Yes,
able to listen
Dinesh.
to me, sir?
Yes.
My my question to Harshad sir is, I really wonder. First of all, let me share my understanding, and then we can go ahead. My understanding is, it means that there is attention and there is inattention. So this is vertical polarity. Means inattention, there is thought, whether it is with the right subject or wrong subject or distraction or concentration, right? Another is attention, which is means awareness of attention or awareness of inattention. It is the same thing.
Yeah.
Now the question is, I wonder if it is so, why Krishnamurti has used two different words, awareness and attention. If either both are same, or otherwise in attention there has to be an object or there has to be an interest of a particular subject, and in awareness there is no particular interest or there is no any interest in any on any issue. In both the cases center is not there. What Harshad sir has to say on this?
Yes, in one another video in which Krishnaji says that this choiceless awareness is same as attention. That means in that choiceless awareness, there is no choice. It is not discriminating between good and bad, between concentration and attention. It is not an intellectual process. Attention is a real freedom to observe whatever it is. And in that attention, if something, a thought is changing direction, going from one to the other, it can observe that change, but it doesn't become a problem because you don't want this attention to focus on any particular thing. So this attention can look at the flow of thoughts without any conflict because it has no motive. Attention has no motive. It is just moving with thoughts. So that is the real beauty. And in that, even if there's a inattention, in this quality of attention, if there's a inattention, if thought is changing direction, no problem. It can move it with it. So that is the real beauty of what Krishnaji is saying, and that is the real freedom to look without trying to fix our mind on a particular thing. So that is real beauty of this attention.
But if it is so, then the attention word itself is losing its origin, because attention means to attend something or to somebody is attending something, or his presence is very much there. So the origin of the word itself is we are denying.
Yeah. Here also in this video, in attention, Krishnaji says, there is no center or self. It is just observing. It is like you are looking at the sky, blue sky, and a white cloud comes, and the cloud comes and goes away. And then again, the sky is blue. So this state of attention in which thoughts can come and go away, there is no problem with it. And if some person is speaking, like you are asking question, I can listen perfectly in that state of attention. And I can understand what is the meaning behind the words you are speaking, or what Krishnaji is saying, what he is actually trying to convey. But if there is a self which is trying to understand, then there will be conflict. And then you may not understand what Krishnamurti says. And then you will ask, what does he mean by that? And then you are not able to listen anymore. But in the state of attention, you don't ask anything. It is everything is flowing and understanding happens effortlessly. So that is the real beauty of attention.
Here is my question, sir. You said that understanding happens automatically or without any center. But then why, if it is so, why we are giving so much even importance to attention? Because it is just like traffic going on, and we are just watching traffic. So why the basic importance has been given to attention? Well, if there is no moment of center, there is no moment of in any direction.
Yeah. Yes, somebody wants to say.
Yeah, may I come in, sir? Just to.
Okay, yes, you can come. Yes.
Dinesh ji, to answer your question to some extent, I would like to participate here. There is a subtle difference between attention and awareness. And actually, if you go back a little, awareness is nothing but observation. It is a one form of observation without any thought process involved in that. So when it's awareness, in some form of awareness, self is there. Like I'm aware that I'm talking. I'm aware that I'm seeing people around me. I'm seeing the colors, I'm seeing the tent, all those things. Awareness is very much there. And the self is also there. But when it comes to choiceless awareness, because choice means self is operating. This is nice, I like it. This is not nice, I don't like it, etc. So in a state of choiceless awareness, the self is not there. We are eliminating the process of self. Suppose you are walking in a garden, you see a nice tree with flowers and all, you like it. But after the plant, after the tree, you find a dirty nala with bad with water and lot of bad smell. You may not like it. But in choiceless awareness, you will not discriminate like that. You see all of them, whether it's good or bad. We are not using choice. Now you come to attention. You asked a very important question. In fact, Krishnaji has given a lot of importance to the faculty of attention. And he also said it is a summation of energy. To make, because in fact, there's one nice booklet of Krishnaji's talks. It is titled as The Flame of Attention. In that flame of attention, all your memories, all your recordings can be eliminated, because it is a flame and it is got the capacity to burn things. Now, how this choiceless awareness becomes attention? That is the question you are asking. Krishnaji said in one of his talks that when the whole organism is involved, you see, in choiceless awareness, only the mental faculties are involved. But if you involve your entire organism, that is your nose, your eyes, your ears, and also your heart is the center of your body. When you involve the heart also, and to involve the heart, what you should do? You should have care and attention, okay, care and affection. Care and affection emanates from the human heart, our human heart. So when you are looking at a thing with care and affection, that means you are involving the heart also. That means the entire organism is involved. That will lead to a summation of energy. And that is the flame of attention. In that attention, a lot of things can happen. And as already said in that video, attention is from moment to moment, and it is all inclusive. Attention does not exclude anything. Whereas concentration, you are excluding. You are concentrating on one point, one object, one thought, and excluding all other thoughts. There is a resistance there, and that fighting is going on. So attention is a very important aspect Krishnaji has pointed out, and that state of attention can lead to perception. You perceive, you get an insight in that state because there is a summation of energy. There is energy is gathered, all the energy has been gathered, and there is no self there, thought is not there, it is moment to moment. There is a possibility that you can have an insight or you can have a perception. And also, one more thing is, can we live our day-to-day life in a state of attention? Starting with small things like brushing our teeth or shaving or having a bath. Can we do that attentively? That is a good beginning so that we will be able to touch base with this state of attention and take it forward. That's all from my side. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
In all this, center is involved, isn't it? Whatever he said. What Harshad sir has to say.
No, in this attention, there is no center. It is just looking.
Okay, let others say.
Yes, sir. Anybody else would like to?
Let Kamlesh say something. Kamlesh, please. Unmute
Harshad sir,
yourself.
Yeah, yes.
are you
Yeah.
able to listen to me, sir?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
I
everybody-
will.
I want to say that
Yeah.
mind wanders to any issue because it is very important to it. Therefore, these wandering of the mind, they have to be seen in a very depth to understand the structure of wandering of mind and
Yeah.
how you are related to it. If these wanderings are not carefully seen, then the state of attention cannot be achieved or it cannot be there.
Yeah.
Harshad sir, what you have to say on this?
Yes, I would say that, like Krishnaji says, freedom is at the beginning. So attention is at the beginning, and in that attention, if the mind is wandering off, it can see that the mind is wandering off, and it is not a problem. Then the mind moves with that thought and allows, and thought can go wherever it wants to go. That is the real freedom, I would say, and not say that the thought should only be focused on something. And that I consider to be a real meditation where it is moving with what is and not saying this is good, this is bad, but just moving. And in that, there is no harm. There is no even this sense of self. It's only just looking at whatever is happening, and that is a freedom. So there is no conflict involved in that between good and bad, like that.
Sir,
It's like a river which is flowing, going, and if there is any obstruction comes, it moves around and goes. So attention is like that. But when there is no attention, then there are many problems. Then thought multiplies, and then this self comes, and then it says, I wasted my time, and I wanted to concentrate on what Krishnaji was saying, or I wanted to concentrate on Shiva or Buddha, and the mind went into something else. So all that complications comes, when we want to fix our mind on one thing. And that is concentration. And concentration leads to conflict and waste of energy. But in attention, it is a freedom. It's moving with what is without the self coming into picture. Okay, I finish.
Anand
Sir.
sir, please unmute and say. Anand sir.
There's a lot of background noise. I'll come little later. I think you all can hear. I think the background sound.
Harshad sir,
Sir,
Yeah.
I want to ask one thing. If the wandering where the mind is going on its own accord, if that is
Yeah.
more important, then one will have to attend the particular distraction also, or the wandering also. Is it okay?
Not saying that it is going in the wrong direction,
Yes.
but just allow it to go wherever it wants to go.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
Dinesh ji?
so, Harshad sir. So
Yeah.
are we saying that if there is no center involved and whatever is happening, only that is under attention, then there is no relationship because center is not there?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good question. When we don't have attention, we have no relationship. But when we have attention, there is, as Murthy ji said, there is a care and affection exists. But it is not for someone, but it is a state of affection and care. And we do the right thing. We don't get uh, disturbed, even if something doesn't happen the way we want. So, in this attention, there is a relationship, and that is what Krishna ji calls a real love, where the self is not. So, all these things can be understood only when it becomes a reality in our life. But if we try to study Krishnamurti in a scholarly way by analyzing the words like insight or perception or choiceless awareness or attention or intelligence, and we analyze all these different words and in a scholarly way, then there will be many questions, many doubts. But when we are in that state of attention, in love, in real relationship, without the self, it's it's a real freedom. And this cannot be explained, no matter how many words we use to describe, it will still like describing a mango, and the person has not tasted mango, and you describe to that person how mango tastes. So same way with attention or intelligence or freedom or love or affection. These are the qualities which come from real wisdom. It doesn't come just by itself, but when we are very, very curious to look at our own mind without trying to change it, then there comes a state of freedom in which we can see how thoughts are arising, and that looking is not from thinking. If it is from thinking, that looking, then it will go round and round and create more questions, more doubts, more conflicts. Okay, I have said enough.
Pasha sir, please unmute and say.
Good evening, sir. After listening to
Yeah,
that video, sir, I started noticing that how common it is, sir, for us to wander off to something else. When I sit to read a book, I get some other thoughts. Even when I listen to Krishna ji, I get some thoughts. Even while listening to you people also, I get some. My mind wanders to different thoughts, sir. I'm wondering, sir, why it is going away? Why I'm getting different thoughts? Is it because uh, those matters are not settled in my mind, in my psyche, or else is it because I'm not interested in the activity that is going on? I don't know, sir, which is the reason. And
mhm,
another important thing is, sir, if I want to, if I'm doing, for example, I'm walking, I'm getting some thoughts. So I think so. There is one clue there, sir, where my mind is telling that this so and so matter is not settled. You please look into that matter. I think so. I have to settle that thought, sir. I have to understand. As Krishna ji says, no, sir, you have to die to the past. I think so. I did not die to the past. That's why they are again and again coming. Those thoughts are coming.
yeah,
When I'm listening, as Kamlesh sir also pointed, if I'm getting I'm getting distracted, I have to attend to those thoughts which are making me distracted and settle them. Maybe then the frequency of those thoughts will reduce, I think. Thank you, sir.
Anand
yeah,
sir, please.
yeah. Yes, Anand, sir.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, just to answer the previous person's question, thoughts arise in me because I have not solved it. If you solve any problem completely, it is gone. It doesn't come back to you again. Most of the problems in our life are unsolved, though I may think I have solved, but it's only a partial solving. That is why thought is always in operation. That is one. When Case says, end thought doesn't mean to end thought. I mean, that's again my interpretation of that thought will always be there as long as I'm there. It doesn't go anywhere, but it's in the right place. There's an understanding, and then intelligence acts, it's in its place. And functionally, thought is required. Without thought, I will be in a mental hospital. That is one. Then the description is not the described. K is saying something. He has to use words to tell us what attention is, what inattention is, what awareness is. And then, I keep discussing about it. I make positive statements about it, and I say what it is or what it is not. Can I see that I'm back to my conditioning self? The most negation is the most positive assertion. Negation is the most positive action, not positive assertion. How do I understand that? All the time we want to reach to a conclusion. We are looking for answers. We don't remain with what is. That is very essential. He says, when you're aware that you're inattentive, that is attention. Now, he talks about the center, and when there's no center, attention. Again, he has to use words to describe it. Can I go beyond the verses? What is essential? That is about all.
Shakti sir.
Yeah.
Shakti sir. Please unmute Shakti sir and say.
We can hear him, sir. Oh no, he's just on mute.
Shakti sir, please unmute and say. You are muted.
Okay.
Now you can say.
Yes.
Yeah.
You see, this question of concentration and attention. One thing is that concentration is also needed in life. And Krishnamurti elsewhere has made it very clear that when you begin with attention, if you are in touch with awareness, attention, then you can concentrate also where it is needed. You need to read a book, you need to do something. And in that concentration, there will not be any exclusion. He has also called it extensive concentration. So that is one thing. Another thing, you see this is a wonderful message for those who see that most of their life, like I see in my life, most of the time I am inattentive. That is the default mode. So this message of Krishnamurti, that when you are aware that you are inattentive, then that inattention is not there. It is moment to moment. Because even doing small things, yesterday I was washing clothes. So because I try to experiment with small things, and I said to myself, look, while washing clothes, why I need to think about some past incident or something like this? Can I do it with as much awareness as possible? And I saw that some thoughts come either of the past or of the future, and then you watch that also. You watch your reaction also. You watch the whole process, and then it doesn't overcome the whole thing. So this saying that when there is awareness of inattention, then there is a different pattern. I don't know whether the center is there or not. I respect what Krishnamurti says, but this is true that when we are inattentive, our reaction patterns, everything is very different than when we are paying attention, when we are being aware without bothering about what does it exactly means intellectually, but to see if it is possible, and also if it is it's not a feat, it's not something like doing something extraordinary. Like when Harshad is speaking and somebody is speaking, is it possible to pay attention to that? And if a reaction comes, is it possible to be aware of that reaction also? And it's wonderful. There is no motive behind it. Thank you, sir.
Can I ask a question to Shakti, sir?
Yeah.
Shakti, sir, do we mean to say that when we are in attention, new aspects of the situations are revealed? Please unmute, sir. Please
Unmute yourself, sir.
Please unmute yourself, sir.
Shakti sir, you have muted. Shakti sir, you have muted.
Yeah.
Muted.
Yeah.
And now you can say.
Yeah.
And
Repeat, sir, whatever you said.
Welcome.
Then Rajendran after
Yeah.
Shakti sir.
Yeah. You see, this, I have lost your question. I'm sorry.
Okay, I would repeat.
I'm very sorry. Please repeat it. Yeah.
Yeah, I would repeat. My question was, as you were washing the clothes, and you thought that without any thought for any other thing, can I wash the clothes? So, do we mean to say that if we are with attention, new things or new aspects are revealed, which may not be possible when we are inattentive?
Yeah, you see, I feel why I do this, for example, when I'm washing my plate or when I'm eating or something, because I see that most of the time there is inattention. So small things, I try to see that whether it is possible at all or not. And then I see that the reaction arises, I said, and what you say is not the motive is not to see if there are new things revealed, but at the same time, I would say that whatever you are doing, you become a little bit better in that. And sometimes what happens, that you see the things in a very different way. It doesn't happen all the time because there are very small moments. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Rajendran sir, please unmute and say.
Sir, good evening, sir. Just Harshad Bhai also mentioned about experimenting. I'm happy that Shakti ji also mentioned the same thing, experimenting while washing the cloth. See, that experimenting, we are not ready to do that. We just we always use our intellect to understand what Krishna ji is telling. That is where all our problems are there. So I have also tested something. When somebody asks while walking, why thought is interfering, why my mind is thought is arising. So let us experiment that also. I have done this experiment while walking. My observation is, when we do anything mechanically out of habit, as a routine, matter of routine, with the help of muscle memory, thought interferes, thought wanders. So our brain is not mad for multitasking, sir. Only one task at a time. When we are doing multitasking, driving a car, talking to someone over Bluetooth, or doing some other thing. So this multitasking happens only when we do something mechanically. If we are once aware of this mechanical habit and come out and do it mindfully, then thought it that another task, the mind wandering stops. So only let us do one task at a time, sir. For walking, for example, walking. Let us consciously let us be aware that our foot touches the earth, and the wind breezes and touches our skin. That is mindfulness. When we concentrate on when we with awareness, when we do that, it is not mechanical, it is not routine. And let us see whether thought interferes. It may not interfere, sir. You just try it. And somebody, Shakti ji, also mentioned about default mode. That is very, very important. When we do anything mechanically, anything routinely, anything out of habit, just like brushing our teeth, it is being that one brain network, that is default mode network, is in charge of that. All autonomous body functions are just like breathing and heart pumping the blood, etc., are autonomous functions. It is all entrusted to that default mode network. Anything mechanical, whether it's a physical activity like brushing teeth or mind wandering, that is also entrusted to that default mode network. So briefly, I want to conclude. If you do anything mechanically, the mind always wanders. So multitasking is possible only when we do mechanically. Brushing teeth mechanically, that is mechanical activity. Then mind also wanders mechanically. So only when we do it mindfully, just like as Harshad Bhai suggested, experimenting it, then we will see the truth of it, sir. Thank you.
May I say something?
Please do, sir. Please do.
Yes. When I first time read Krishnamurti book, or later on also, I have never tried to understand Krishnamurti. Either I grasp it immediately, or if I don't understand, I don't bother. I don't ask what Krishnamurti means by this, because I feel that what is happening within us is much more important than trying to understand Krishnamurti, because it seems to me that people are trying to understand Krishnamurti and then they are grasping some concepts from Krishnamurti and then they try to follow it and say that there should be no thinking is a problem. And so that was not the way I learned about myself. by reading Krishnamurti. I never try to understand Krishnamurti, but what is happening within me. And, and when we understand ourselves, then we can understand Krishnamurti, and then we can say, yes, what he says is quite obvious, So the emphasis should be, or emphasis is on looking at what is happening, and initially there may be many problems. Our mind will be wandering off, and then we bring it back. But if we don't give up and become more and more curious at looking at our own mind, how it is working, then at some time there may come a state in which we begin to observe, not from thinking, but a different dimension than thinking. And then everything becomes very easy to, to understand whatever is going on within us. And there will be no conflict. And there will be no trying to understand. Our main problem is that we are trying to understand. And in that, there is a lot of conflict. Okay, I have finished.
Anand sir, please unmute and say.
Yes, sir. I mean, so when we talk about attention, so when I'm attentive, so when I see there's some danger, that's when one is attentive. And also, when you see something beautiful or you see something for the first time, that's when you see the beauty of it, sir. I'm sorry, that's when you're attentive. I'm sorry, I'm being distracted. Yes, sir. So again, to understand, when I see danger, there's an attention. Also, when I'm sensitive, can I observe things? Or to put it differently, can I say I am not sensitive? So therefore, when I talk about attention or something else, it is not there. I don't care. Right now, Kay has mentioned in almost all his talks, sir, that we are facing danger. He says so many species have gone extinct. We don't pay any attention to that at all. We don't see the danger. He saw the danger 80, 90 years back. We don't see that even today. Either we are very insensitive, or if I say I see that, I have to do something about it. So I don't want to see that, or I depend upon some leaders, some social organizations or religious people we expect them to do something about it, especially the political leaders. So when we're talking about attention, so can I observe why I'm not attentive? That is one. Two, I don't see any danger. Even if the danger is there, I feel that somebody else will take care. I don't have to do anything about it. Three, can I observe that I'm also an insensitive human being? This is what I want to do, so that's about it.
Can I ask a question to Mr. Anand?
Sure, sir.
Yes.
When you see a danger, you jump. So in that attention, center is involved or not?
So no, let's not get caught in words. But it would have happened to you also. When you see some danger, when you see a snake, there's an immediate action. I don't say I have to move. While I'm standing on the road, I move back. I don't say I move back. Suddenly I saw a car pass very close to me. So we don't give much importance to all this. Right now, if you see, there's so much of talk which is going on, what Krishnamurti spoke about 80 years back, that what we are doing is we're destroying humanity. We're destroying the planet. We're destroying this beautiful world. He said, so many species are going extinct. How many of us are interested in that stuff? Is my question. Forget the self is there, not there. Am I really interested? Am I sensitive? Do I care for people whom I say I love? Is the question, sir. It's for you to look into it.
Pradeep Verma, sir. Pradeep Verma, sir.
Yes, yes. Am I audible?
Yes, you are
Yes,
audible.
yes, yes, yeah.
Okay, okay. I have not to say many things. I have no conclusions, but I see the present session of discussions as the self or selves trying to understand the selfless. You see, this is what is happening all the time, because when we are discussing about attention, choiceless awareness, where self is in one way or the other is a problem. So we all are using our minds, thoughts, listening with thoughts and minds, and trying to understand that which demands selflessness. Please, this may not be taken as derogatory to anyone. I may be excused if someone takes it otherwise. So this is what is happening. That's why difference of opinions are there. How each one has understood with his limitedness, JK, from a particular book or whatever it is. So that's why, and where the words are required, synonyms and antonyms, everything is required. And why do we use so many words to say the same thing? Anyway, this is what my simple submission, that we selves are trying to understand selfless in most of the cases. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I would also say on this the same thing, that whether self has understood its limitation and its movement or its structure in the process, that is the question.
So many a times we see the self is not in operation. We don't give much importance to it. It happens many a time. Have I really observed it? When I get up early morning, I see the sunrise. For a split second, I see the beauty of it before my thought comes in and says how lovely it is. Do I observe that? When I see a beautiful child, someone carrying a beautiful child, for a minute, the self is not there. I see the beautiful child. Then I say how lovely the child is. Or sometimes I've seen a child looks at you and smiles. And there's some that I would say there's joy in you. You don't say there's joy in me. The moment I say that, I'm back to my conditioning. It happens many a time. Can I observe that is the question. Why is that we don't give importance to it? I go back to my thoughts. I can observe that I'm going back to my back to my memory. I say how beautiful the sunrise is or sunset is. I can observe that I don't remain with it. That's all there is to be done. That's what I think Kay is talking about. Can I remain with what is? Instead of saying when a self-operator does not operate, it is there or not there. Self is there. It has to be there. It is not going to go anywhere. He has to use the words when he says to end self and thought. Only it means it is the right place. How do I understand again without thought, without self? Who am I? What am I? They'll put me in mental hospital. We'll all be in mental hospital. It is very essential for us. It has to be there. And every time we say we should have thought, I don't find any intelligence in saying that. Thought is required very much in every moment of my life. The point here is, sir, am I a sensitive human being is essential to look at. Do I care? Am I free? Am I a responsible human being? Or let me say, am I a responsible animal? Because, we say human beings, but we do so many inhuman things. We don't even look at all these things. We don't even question our actions every day. Your action and my action is cause for so much of violence on the planet. But do I really understand that? I only put blame on the politicians, the religious people, and other people. I don't say I'm responsible for what is happening out there. If I say I listen to K, I'm reading K, he says that you're responsible for what is happening. So how do I look at all these things? Forget the self is there, not there, self has to end, which is whether self is operating or not operating. Can I observe all this is the question. Can I observe I'm an insensitive human being is the question. The question is, I don't care what is happening out there. I only care about myself. I'm taking care of myself and my family. So we have to look into all these things, sir. It is not important whether self is there or not there, self is operating or not operating. And, you know, K is saying this, you know, it's beyond time or within time. It is just, I mean, this, I would say, you know, I mean, the second is dissipation of energy. So much of energy is being dissipated in things we don't want to look at. I'm sorry. So much of energy is being dissipated in unwanted things. If we are serious, we should be serious. Then something definitely, again, within quotes, I'm saying, we have to be serious to see things as they are. Overstep.
Rajendran, sir.
Yes, sir. So someone was telling, we are using the self to understand the selflessness. Sir, what is self, sir? Self is thought. When there is silence, when the thought does not move, is there any self? The self comes into operation the moment the thought moves. So why not the thought understand its own limitations, sir? The thought, which has invented so many things, rocket science to so many other things which they invented and which easily they can understand. Why the thought, the self, cannot understand its own limitations, sir? Thank you.
Harshad, sir.
Yes, I would say that a thought cannot see itself completely. One has to come out in a different dimension to look at thought, what the thought is doing very, very clearly. So sometimes I say that thinking and feeling is like a two-dimensional plane, and this attention or awareness is in the third dimension, which can look down at the floor of thinking and feeling. So that is our problem. As long as we are using thought to understand thought, then there will be many questions, many doubts, endless questions will be there. But if a person can, if it is possible to come out from thinking and look at thinking, then there are no questions, then only looking at what is. And that is the real beauty. Ultimately, the ball is in our court. Are we really interested in looking at ourselves as we are, as these thoughts are unfolding? Are we very, very curious to look? And not in order to become somebody or in order to become free, but we are really curious and we have all the energy to look. And that is our problem, that we don't have that freedom at the beginning to look at what the thought and feelings are doing. Okay, so that is what I have to say.
But sir, when you say freedom, I mean, doesn't freedom mean responsibility? Freedom and responsibility go together.
Yes.
I mean, when I'm talking about freedom, I need to look at responsibility. Am I a responsible human being?
Yes.
So without responsibility, there is no freedom. So it is very essential for us to understand, to be responsible, there has to be care, there has to be affection.
Yeah.
So all that, I mean, we seem to be overlooking. I want to be free. I want to do what I want or whatever it is. You know, I want freedom. But what I say or talk about freedom, what I do, saying I can do whatever I want, that is not freedom. I mean, freedom again means responsibility. Responsibility means care. Care again, affection. So it is very essential for me to understand that these are all involved in it. And I don't look at all this because I'm an insensitive human being. That is, if it finally comes to that, I don't care. I don't love. I say I love, but I don't know what it is. So it is very essential when we talk about freedom, we have to understand responsibility.
Yes. Anandji, well, I would say that love and freedom, they are the same thing. And out of that, responsibility comes. Not without that, without love, one cannot be responsible. Without freedom, one cannot be responsible, because whatever we do, it will create more problem if there is no freedom, there is no love. So finally, we have to come back to our own life, how we live. And if there is some sensitivity, love, freedom, it will express itself in whatever we do. You know. Okay, I have finished.
Yes, sir. What you're saying, I agree. But we are only using words. Whether it is freedom, whether it is love, whether it is responsibility, care, affection, they're all same. We may use the word, but it means the same. I didn't want to use the word love often because I mean it's love we consider as very profound. I mean, much before K. I mean, when people talk about love, I always question that. So love again, I really don't know what it is.
Yes.
So I mean, yeah. So we are using different words, but it means the same: freedom, love, responsibility, care, affection.
Yeah.
It's all the same. Yes, sir.
Yes. Freedom means freedom from the self, from the ego, that me. That creates all our problems, you know.
Again, how do I understand freedom from the self? Sir? Like I said, the self will be there. We get caught in words. Like when I say freedom from self, someone has to speak. Someone is trying to describe that. But self is always there. I mean, the thought is there. I mean, again, thought is limited because knowledge is limited. So I need to look at all these things. The moment I say it should not be there, then I'm back to my conditioning.
Yes.
What it should be, what it should not be.
Shankarji has to say something. Shankarji, you can say.
Please.
I have a question to Mr. Waghmare. What is the meaning of freedom in Krishnamurti's language? Thank you.
You want to ask me?
Yes, sir.
See, we have seen what has happened and what has been said by the others. When you utter so many words, it means you are distracted. And once you are distracted, you become limited. When you don't use any word, then whatever the state is, that is freedom. In Krishnamurti's language. That's what my understanding is.
I want to hear from you about freedom in total understanding, not to certain particular aspect. In total understanding, what is freedom? You are saying you are talking about a particular instant, like when I'm getting distracted and all that. In total understanding, what is freedom? Thank you.
So when there is no thought, what is the state? When you use a thought.
Why there should be no thought? Why there should be no thought?
No, there is no condition like no thought.
No. Why we are saying there should not be thought? I'm a kid. Please explain.
No. I am not insisting on that, sir. There should not be any thought. But whenever thought is there, okay, let us put it in from other direction. Let us discuss. When there is a thought, there is a limitation. Are we together?
Okay.
So whenever thought is there, it means I is operative. As simple as that.
Yeah. When you know the limitation is false, then is that fine?
Yes. When you are attentive, you know the limitation and you move with the limitation. But you are aware
No,
of
no,
that
no, no.
inattention,
Let us
what
go
he
slowly.
means to say.
Let us go slowly.
Okay.
You want to get rid of thought just because it is limited. Am I right, sir?
I do not want to get rid of thought. It is a natural process.
Okay, fine. How can I put it? You are saying that when there
See,
is no
can
thought,
I just listen to me, sir?
yeah.
Can I use my thought as an instrument, like my foot or my hand? Whenever I want to raise my hand, I am raising my hand. When I want to use the thought, I will use the thought. Just to express, like at this time I am expressing, so I am using thoughts. If I don't want to use the thoughts, let me not use the thought. That is freedom.
You are talking about functional activity of thought.
Are we
right?
together?
We are together in functional activity of thought, obviously, to lift our hand and whatever, to express through your mouth and all. That is fine. I have no objection. I'm talking about psychological thought. We want to get rid of psychological thought because it is limited. Am I right, sir?
When you, as Harshad sir was saying again and again, if you touch that another dimension, you will be able to see your inner thoughts movements. And when you observe them, you see them with their limitations also. So you are already free.
Thank you.
Are we together?
No, I have something else in my mind, but
Parekh,
time.
Time is left for 4 minutes only. Would you please
Yeah.
conclude? Please conclude.
Okay. Yes, we have discussed quite a bit. Only I would say that if we don't try to understand Krishnamurti, but understand our own mind, how it functions in the daily activities, of course, we can read Krishnamurti, but not think about it. That is the way I studied Krishnamurti, was not thinking about what Krishnamurti said. I would read for about 10-15 minutes of Krishnamurti, then leave the book and curious about what is happening in my mind, how these thoughts are coming. So in that, there is a direct way of learning. And then when we understand ourselves, not through the book, but by our own observation, then we can say, yes, what Krishnamurti says is true. You don't have anything more to say. Krishnamurti says it very, very beautifully. But the problem arises when we try to understand Krishnamurti's mind. We cannot, because he has learned by observing his own mind, not by reading books about mind and awareness. And he has come up with his own words. And we get caught into these words which Krishnaji is describing. And then if we don't observe ourselves very, very clearly, then there will be many conflict will arise. And I have heard people saying that they made a mistake in reading Krishnamurti because now they have more conflict after reading Krishnamurti because they want to become free from thinking. And thinking is an enemy, they say. So there is a thinking, and then the thinking says it should not be there. Then one creates a lot of conflict in one's life, and energy is wasted. But the real thing is to come out from this thinking and then observe thinking clearly. Then there are no doubts, no questions. Like one then doesn't ask, can I observe it? No, you observe it, you don't ask question. And that is the real beauty of observing, not asking questions, but really observing. Okay, I have finished. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Parekh sir.
Sir, I have.
And I will say that on Sunday we will have Gopalan sir talking about the other source. This source we have discussed at length, and I think it is better to close it now, as it is 7. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now,
Thank you.
Modak,
Thank you.
sir, please.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.